Welcome to Traders Consigliere Weekly Analysis. We look at the fundamentals and the technicals before the market opens for the upcoming week to find out potential trades that we can take. So we start with fundamentals. We start with the previous week first to find if our biases have changed and then look at the upcoming week. So from the previous week on Monday, we have a US dollar bank holiday which we did not trade because of lower volume, low volatility. On Tuesday, no major announcements. But on Wednesday, though, we had UK CPI data come out, and this came in stagnant from the same as the previous month and much higher than the forecast. In fact, core CPI came in higher from the previous month and the forecast, which is showing inflation is persisting and it's extremely detrimental to the UK economy at the moment. So is retail price inflation. This is also coming in a lot higher at 11.3%. So this data shows you that inflation is extremely out of hand when it comes to the UK economy. On the same day, though, we had Fed Chairman Powell speak in front of the Senate, and all his comments that he made on Wednesday as well as on Thursday was all bullish sentiment for the US dollar. He mentions that rate hikes will still be happening. They just paused at this meeting. There'll be more rate hikes, which shows that US dollar will get stronger, right? Because if they hike rates, borrowing the dollar gets expensive. Therefore, the dollar rallies, right? So I still remain with my bias with US dollar bullish till I see some signs of weakening. So on Thursday, though, after this UK CPI data came out, we had the Bank of England meeting right after the CPI on the next day, and they hiked rates by 50 basis point. They were supposed to hike rates by 25 basis point according to the market. So they went with an aggressive rate hike, which rallied the British pound. Right, British pound rallied bullish, which was extremely aggressive, and this 50 basis point was underpriced in the market. So everyone were expecting for a 25 basis point hike, and we got a 50 basis point. Same thing reiterated by Bank of England Governor Bailey, mentions that inflation is way out of hand. If they do not hike rates aggressively now, it can get much worse later. That shows that inflation is way out of hand in England, right, in UK. Unemployment claims came in pretty much stagnant, so not a big difference there. Existing home sales came in higher, right? So this number is coming in higher, and if you notice Powell's speech, he mentions that the real estate market is still hasn't yet felt disinflation to it, right? So it still remains, inflation still persisting when it comes to the real estate market. These numbers are supposed to come in lower. On Friday, we had retail sales come in for UK, came in a bit higher, again showing inflation is persisting. This is supposed to come in the red, right? So showing that their rate hikes are working. So we had British pound PMI, Purchasing Managers Index, a bit in the red, not a big difference here. So even with the dollar, we had a bit of a drop, showing maybe the inflation, the rate hikes are working, but not a big difference. So that's what happened in the previous week. The current week. So with the upcoming week, we have Bank of Japan announcements. So this would be interesting to see. We have core CPI come out with Bank of Japan, which is showing a bit of a increase by 3.1%. So that will be a statistic I'll keep an eye on. Core durable good orders, it's forecasted to come in a bit higher, and the durable good orders forecasted to come in lower. So this will be something to keep an eye on. Consumer confidence at 104, right, higher. The consumer confidence is actually supposed to drop if inflation, if their rate hikes are working, because money is drying up, right, in the market. So home sales as well, I'll keep an eye on. And again, we have Bank of England Bailey speak, right? Governor Bailey. I'll keep an eye on the remarks. In fact, all This is a heavy day, right? On Wednesday at 5:30, we have Bank of England, Bank of Japan, and also the Federal Reserve for the dollar. All of the chairmen and the governors are speaking, so very important to keep an eye on the comments made here. This will be heavy. This may move the market depending on their comments, right? On Thursday, we have the GDP. GDP is very, very important. This is coming in a bit higher, a tad bit higher from the previous reading. And this is the final GDP. So this is an important statistics to keep an eye on. This ends up moving the market, right? Especially commodities. So keep an eye on this. On Friday, we have Tokyo Core CPI. Also keep an eye on that. We have the final GDP when it comes to do the UK. Very important as well. And it's coming in stagnant, which makes sense because inflation is persisting. But this is supposed to come in a bit higher actually if inflation is persisting. So gotta keep an eye on that. And in the last statistic to keep an eye on is on Friday is the dollar core PCE price index. Core PCE price index is coming in stagnant, right? That's what's forecasted. So important number there, right? So that's what I'm looking with the fundamentals. Let's look at the technicals now. Let's start with the dollar index first. Let's start with the weekly chart. So on the weekly chart, what do we notice? We have a bullish, right? A bullish switch in structure right here. And that demand zone that I mentioned from the previous week is pretty much retested, right? If you go down to the lower time frame on the daily, we see that demand zone is now tested and we had a bullish push. But not yet. I want to see, for me to solidify my bullish sentiment with the dollar, I want to see this area here break and these highs here break, right? At 105 and 106 area. So for now, I remain bullish. But if price or some announcement changes or sentiment changes and price actually breaks through this 101 support and finds the resistance around this area here, then I'll be a bit careful with the sentiment with bullish US dollar, right? I may switch my sentiment there, but for now I remain bullish. So let's look at British pound dollar first. On the weekly chart, bullish, right? Very bullish. On the daily, also bullish. A lot of new higher lows, right? Higher highs. So bullish. Therefore, I'm looking to take longs only, right? Because I like to trade with the trend. If you look at the 4-hour chart, so in the 4-hour chart, we are starting to get the retracement there. So price did not hit a supply zone here, which I draw out on my daily at 1.3, right? Yet. So if price does actually reach around here, or if price actually takes off here and reacts to the zone, is something I'll keep an eye on. But for now, I would like to see if price can come around here and then may enter long positions around this area at 1.25, 1.25, 100, right? So that's what the analysis stays same from the previous week. Previous week was extremely choppy. Let's look at British pound, Japanese yen as well. British pound, Japanese yen. Let's start with the weekly. Bullish, very bullish, right? And now has hit a supply zone that we mentioned last week. On the daily as well, you see a nice rally, a pullback, a rally. So look at the bodies of the candle, how at the moment it's a bit smaller, and that is a hammer candle, if I'm not mistaken. So on the top of a trend. Let's look at 4-hour. On the 4-hour also, we were bullish for a while, and see how price actually slows down. Do you see how price had this massive push and then slowly slowing down? And at the moment, we see that supply zone, that older unmitigated supply zone we see our reactions, right? We see reactions of it at the moment. So I'm expecting to see price actually from this demand supply zone here pull back. I want to see a nice reaction of here and a pullback towards this area here, which is the same area that I had marked out last week, because we did not yet get that retest that we wanted at 174, 800, 830 area. So that's what I'm looking at with GJ, right? Japanese yen, the dollar, the British pound, and Japanese yen for now. So let's look at commodities. Let's look at gold first. Let's go to the weekly time frame. So on the weekly, right, we are now switching bearish. We have now seen a triple top there on the 2022 highs, and now we are bearish. And finally, gold has now broken through the consolidation area that we had, and it was fluctuating in that area for the last month, right? More than a month. And finally, we got that nice clean break to the downside. So now that we have a clean break to the downside, we will be looking to take short positions. And in the 4-hour, we see how price broke through, right? It did a lot of liquidity grabbing before it actually gave us a nice break. Once the break happened, now I have a more of a bias to take short positions, right? Also knowing that the dollar is bullish. So on the 1-hour time frame, so what do we see here? This white line that I have drawn out is at 1940. It's an area of support and resistance on the daily, right? If you do notice how this area has always held as a support and resistance at the moment. So I would like to see if price can actually give us a push, right? A push towards this area, actually over the area of resistance into this area where this impulse actually occurred, right? So if it can wick us in towards this area here, this is where I would look to take a short position, maybe towards the low or towards this next demand zone at 1900. This would be possibly be a swing trade, possibly due to the stop loss size. So this is what I'm looking at with gold at the moment. Obviously join the Telegram group, free Telegram group, to keep updated on these moves. Now let's look at indices. Let's look at S&P 500, SPX. Let's look at the weekly time frame. Bullish, right? Very bullish on the weekly as well as on the monthly. On the daily, we are bullish, but now we kind of seeing a bit of a downturn, right, towards the downside. We saw the demand zone that I mentioned supply zone react really well, and now we're seeing the downside pressure come in after that zone was mitigated. On the 4-hour time frame, again, that analysis stays same. This area where I want to take a long position from, because price was extremely choppy last week, as we see, right? We still yet to have a proper move occur, a retest. So I still stick with my bias at 4310 for a long position. But there's an interesting scenario here where possibly you can take a counter trend. But obviously with counter trends, risking low percentage would be the best. So there's an area of 4435 around this area here, where possibly I may take a counter trend with a lower risk, much lower risk, and it's around a 7-point stop loss, right? Both are pretty much the 7-point stop loss. So that's what I'm looking at with SPX at the moment. It's trapped inside the zone. Let's look at NAS100. NAS100 kind of the same thing. Let's start with the weekly. Bullish, right? Bullish on the weekly. The new weekly candles showing us a bit of a pullback. Daily as well, bullish, right? Very bullish. Yet to see a break towards the downside. So on the 4-hour time frame, so we do see this gray area that I have noted out as the supply area on the daily. We see how price actually retested the whole daily, mitigated all of that orders, and now we see a pullback. So the analysis stays the same. I want to see what happens at 14610, and the stop loss would be around 29 points, 30 points, depends, right? So again, join the free Telegram group to stay updated on this. One thing I do like about here that I would like to mention as well is, you see how we have a inverse head and shoulders. We see a break above that inverse head and shoulders, and yet we have not seen a retest of that area. So I have a lot of confluences here, so that's why I have marked out this area there. So keep an eye on that. What else do we have? Let's look at Dow Jones, US30. US30 has been extremely choppy from the previous few weeks. So on the monthly as well, we see consolidation. Weekly, we see pretty much a consolidation, and the new weekly candle has given us a double top, right? Not even a double top. It's hit a very strong area of resistance, right? and we see a triple top. Now we're seeing price make that bearish engulfing, showing us price wants to switch bearish for now. On the daily time frame, again we see a bullish push, right? But now price is switching bearish, so it's starting to give me some indication for the bearish pressure, but I do not yet like it, because on the weekly we do the structure still remains bullish. On the daily we still remain bullish. It just kind of just broke through now. Yeah, so we have such so the monthly remains in consolidation, weekly is bullish, daily is bearish. So with so many conflicting biases on every time frame, I would not take a trade here with US30. I want to see a more multi-time frame correlation occur before I take a position or even start looking to take a position. For now, I'm going to leave US30, and if I see a trending move or something interesting, I'll update it in the free Telegram group. Alright, so for now we're done. Please like, comment and subscribe. Join the free Telegram group to stay updated with the trends, right? With the information, with the fundamentals. Till next time then. See you.